Hi friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop here to entertain and educate about moving averages. That's right, we're going to be looking at moving averages. I am TradeSpotting's brother, Rocky Outcrop. You'll find me on the YouTube if you go looking for me. Seek and ye shall find, and it's good quality content. Over here, what we have is a chart, and on that chart there's these big lines. One of them is blue and one of them is white, and they're both moving averages, and I'm here to talk about what they are for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. So what are moving averages, what are they used for, and more and more, all those details coming up. So for the first second or two here, what is a moving average? Well, it's just you're taking the price of this chart at the minute is up there at $200, and you're adding that number with all of the other prices over the last period that you choose, and you're dividing it by that number to come up with an average. And then every time a new candle comes on, you update the calculation and draw on where the average keeps going. That's essentially what it is. Now, there's two different types. You've got simple and exponential, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But these two here, they're the 50 and the 200 simple period moving average. And I'm looking at it, I should be on the 24-hour time frame here. Looking at the 24-hour time frame because this is where you'd often find, there isn't on that chart. Let's bring up a chart with more history. GME, for example. This is where you would often find things like the golden and death crosses. So the 24-hour time frame you can see here, we had a golden cross on GME back in the 2nd of September 2020. What that means is that the shorter period moving average overtook the longer period moving average. So what's this concept of periods then that you're talking about, Rocky? Well, the ones that I have up at the minute, that's the blue and the white line, they're actually 50 and 200 periods, right? So 50 simple moving average is 50 periods. So it doesn't mean 50 daily. It doesn't mean on this chart, which is the daily chart or the 24-hour chart. Here's the daily chart. That is the 50 daily moving average. But when I change to the 3-hour chart, for example, that is not the 50 daily moving average. That's the 50 3-hour moving average. That's a distinction that a lot of people don't really realize. So you'll find people sometimes say, yes, on the 1-hour chart, we're just about to hit off of the 50-day moving average. And you're like, really? Did you actually take it? So you took you went 24 times 50, and that's is 1,000 and some, and 1,200, and then you made this into 1,200 period, and that's what you're using. No, that's not. They're just saying the word wrong. That's what's going on there. So this is periods, and that's a distinction that's worth knowing. And we're halfway through this thing already. So what's the difference between an exponential and a simple? When an exponential moving average adds greater weight to the most recent price action. So you'll see differences in how they look. So you can show you that really quickly here by just taking off the 200. I'll leave only the blue line on there, that 50, and I'll put on a yellow line, and that yellow I'll make 50 as well. So this is an exponential moving average, and there is also a simple moving average on the charts there. And if I zoom on in and in and in and in and in, you can see that they're different, even though one's they're both the number 50, and that's because at any given time in this calculation is adding more weight to the moving average here, the exponential moving average, more weight to from the recent price action, which I mean a lot of people says it hugs the price action closer, it moves closer, it responds quicker, it's quicker, a quicker moving average, both the same numbers because it's exponential. So that's what you've got there, and you can see that they also cross over each other, and to an extent you could even use that as an indicator. So how do you use this thing as an indicator? There's a few different ways. One of them is by looking at crosses. Now I talked about that already with the 200 and the 50 crossing, and that being called the golden cross or the death cross, depending on if it's positive or negative. Well, you can do that with any combination of them. Really what you're looking for though, unlike what I have here where I've got two of the same length, it's just different types, what you're really looking for is to combine shorter and quicker period moving averages. So that's kind of what I do so often, and that's why I have so many different ones up on my screen. So if I just chuck this back down to a small number, so then I can pop them all back on here. So that's 9, 18, 36 and 54 in terms of those numbers, and then I've got 50 and 200. So I've got those exponential moving averages, and I've got these simple moving averages. Now you can see that there's crosses all over the place, so it's kind of a case of choosing a couple yourself, and you can use a third moving average, a longer one over a greater period of time, to give you a qualifier. For example, if you're above the 200 simple period moving average, then conditions are considered to be bullish, which means as a trader, you're looking to take longs. If you're below it, conditions are considered to be bearish and you're looking to take shorts. That's another way you can use it, and I'm talking about crosses there, and I'm talking about, of course, as well, the concept of going long or short determined by where you are with the moving average. Now, there's lots of other things, nuances that you might want to know about. Interesting ones are where the prices are in relation to the moving averages when they cross. That's something that's interesting to know, and it's something that I've talked about in detail on my channel, and you'll find an education video in my playlist for that, about that topic. Now, there's other things as well. The slope of the moving average, that's important because, of course, the moving average itself is a lagging indicator in terms of lots of things about it. So you're looking as well partly to the slope to get an idea of the trend and how things are feeling with that one. You know, positive slopes up the way better than negative slopes down the way. The fact that it's a lagging indicator isn't actually that big a deal because, of course, you're always looking at what the price is. So I'd finish this little section with talking about moving averages here and invite Jamie to come back over to the charts and whatever else. But just saying here that quickly, you know, that what is price of anything any given time. The price of this thing right now in this exact second GME is 159.91, but it'll be a different price almost guaranteed when you go to look up the price next time. What really is price? Price in any given moment is just a snapshot of the price. Price really of anything is actually a combination of what the price is right now and the psychological impact that that price has on you with regards to whether or not that's going to make you want to buy and sell it. And of course, then that affects the economic equation of supply versus demand. And we know that that is always the case. And we can also look at things like trend, etc., and all of those sorts of things. So a moving average is a good idea of the average price over a period of time, and that isn't the price of the asset, but it's a good idea of the average price over a period of time, and therefore understanding where the prices are now in relation to an average, whether that's close, far away, whether the prices are moving up while the average moves down, if the slope on the prices is positive or negative, the slope on the average is positive or negative, where the average is over a period of time compared to an average of price over a different period of time, and so on and so forth. You can derive a lot of information about that psychological impact and relationship between the person perceiving price and the price of the thing itself, which it does have a bearing on the elasticity and, of course, the supply and demand economics basics of this thing, which is one of the things that we do on the channel. And that's why you use moving averages. That's a good introduction, I would hope, and I'll see you at some point for some more detail on that. Oh, aye, hit like.